All right, so chapter 2, enter Mal. We'll call this person Mal for malice. How about that? For malice. Enter malice. I think this is the first time I met someone who entered my life that that maliciously violated me, and really I believe that it was intentional. It was an intentional thing. So again, trigger warning. These next couple of parts are very triggering. It does involve SA. It does involve the R word. It includes some strong language, and I will try to not say the words. Maybe I'll spell it. Yeah. Okay, so let's get into it. So chapter 2, part 1. I'm trying to recall exactly what grade I was in, because I know there was one period before we left Jersey. We were all over the place. We were in some house in Mattawan, and I heard that some preacher who really swindled my parents into getting, he rented this house out to my parents, but he knew that the house was abandoned. I don't remember anything being wrong with it, but I was a child, like maybe 7th grade. I just know that I think for 7th grade, I lived in like 3 different towns really quickly. Mattawan, Aberdeen, I think. We were in a place called Fox Chase. We were like all over the place for a year, maybe 2 years. And then all of it, like literally, this is how fast this happened. My kids, I call my brother my kids. My brothers and I were at my grandmother's home in Long Branch, and we would sometimes just stay there with her for a little while. I think because of like maybe some church conferences or who knows. All I know is my parents came back from flying to Oklahoma or somewhere down south. We didn't know, we didn't care. We just were having fun at grandma's, and literally it was like this. Like my life, I felt like blew up like overnight. Like all of a sudden we're living in this house, then we're living in this house, and I'm going to this school, that school. I'm not fitting in anywhere, obviously, because I'm the new girl. And we lived in a hotel, and I think that was like a transitional thing as we were leaving the state. All I know is I'm at my grandmother's house in Long Branch, her old home, which I really, 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 really wish I could buy that home back. My mother lived in that home her entire life. And my grandparents, there's just a lot of history there, but let me stick to the point. So my mom and dad come into the house, my grandmother's house, and they say to us, we're moving to Oklahoma. Just like, literally just like that. We're moving to Oklahoma. And there was really not any conversation that I remember. I know that I was very upset. I cried to myself about it a lot. And there was no transition period either. It was like in 2 weeks or something. It was something really, really quick and crazy. And that was it. And before I know it, we were leaving my paternal grandparents' house. We went there to tell them bye or whatever. And they were in Keyport, and I think they were at Second Baptist Church at that time in Keyport. And I remember, I remember pulling out of backing out of their driveway, the house it was like a white house that was right next to the church. I don't know if it's like that anymore. As we were leaving the state and driving to Oklahoma in that ugly green van. I hated that thing. I don't know why any company would make a vehicle like this, but there used to be these vans, these family vans. The very front of them would be completely flat. I don't know what those things were, but I freaking hated them things. So yeah, we drove to Oklahoma, and my youngest brother, oh my God, drove us crazy the whole way there, singing all these church songs. And I just know that I was very in a state of shock, and I felt very upset, and it was like my life was completely ripped apart just like that. Like, that's it. And I remember saying, Oklahoma, like, why the hell would we leave New Jersey to go there? They don't even, like, I was like, they don't even wear shoes there. They don't even have teeth there. Like, there's no real malls. And I ain't gonna lie to you, all the places that we lived in Texas and Oklahoma, that wasn't too far from the truth. And then I didn't even know that the KKK actually still existed. I thought it was something like on TV until I lived in like these backwoods places, and we bounced around, and it wasn't even like Oklahoma City. It was like deep Oklahoma. And like when we were in Texas, it wasn't wasn't even like Dallas, Houston. It wasn't even Amarillo. Like it was like one of the towns we lived in was Memphis, Texas, and we were there for like not even a year. We were just all over the place. I don't really know why. I just know there was one church that my dad was pastoring, then another church he was pastoring, and we were just boom, 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 just all over the place. And I remember feeling like I was being sold. It was like I was being sold a commercial that I had to like consume and just believe that this was true, that it was much safer for us. New Jersey wasn't a safe space, and it cost too much money. You can't afford to live there, and that it would be safer down there. And it was the Bible Belt. I kept hearing this term, the Bible Belt. And as a kid, I thought, this is the stupidest thing ever. Like, what the heck does that mean? And I guess that's like the place of the country where people like believe in the Bible the most. And there's literally a street corner on like every church there. And to me that's so ridiculous. Like, to me that just shows a bunch of divisiveness. Like, you guys can't even get along on the same Bible, that there's literally like all these churches in one little town. Like, this isn't even a real city, but you got like Mount Zion, then Greater Mount Zion, then you have like New Hope, Second New Hope, like literally. Like, and then if you hear about the church story, it was because there was a church split in a fight. I know one thing about my dad's history in one of those towns, he actually reunited two churches, that was very cool. It happened to be in a town called Hobart, Oklahoma, spelled Hobart, but if you say Hobart, they will probably get offended because they pronounce it Hobart. Another thing about that area that I just hated, I hated it. I got made fun of so hard when I lived in that town by so many people, and I just never really fit in. And then even the few friendships that I had, most of those were very disingenuous. It was just kind of situational. Like, both of our dads were preachers, so we always had to be around each other. They would make fun of the way that I talked and be like, say the word turquoise, say water, like, because I'm fresh out of New Jersey, so my accent was like, I guess, really thick or something. I don't know, from there. Now I have like a mutt accent. I sound like I'm from everywhere, I think. But I remember we lived in this town called Hobart, Oklahoma. We were there for how many years? I think for 3 years, perhaps, or no, a little less than 3 years. So I think my 7th grade year or my 8th grade year, I went to like 3 to 4 different schools in 3 states. I kid you not. I started that's whatever school year it was, 7th or 8th grade. I started it in I forgot which town, whatever the last town was that we lived in New Jersey. And then we went to Altus, Oklahoma. I was there for a couple of months. And then we went to Texas, and I was there for a few months. And I think I finished my 8th grade year. Yep, I finished my 8th grade year there in Texas, or something like that. Then we moved to Hobart, Oklahoma, and I was there freshman, sophomore, and junior year of high school. And then I wound up moving again to Ardmore, Oklahoma, and I lived there for 1 year, and that was definitely an awkward black girl moment because I lived in Ardmore, Oklahoma, only for my senior year of high school. Like I said, I don't think I've ever been anywhere longer than 2 years. And again, the home that my children and I are renting and have been in, I've been here for about 5 years, the longest I've ever been in one place my entire life. Tragic and beautiful at the same time. Jeez. So that's some backstory, back history. I guess the next part, I'll end it here and go into part 2, and then get into the significance of that town, Hobart, and enter this character who was a part of my father's church, living in our home. And you already know where I'm going with this. Unfortunately, the story is so typical, you know exactly where I'm going.